A very good evening to you all. I hope all participants can hear me clearly. You all will have to excuse me. I am basically facing the power outrage these couple of hours. So I will be not seen, but hopefully heard. I'm sure everyone can hear me. Can I have a raise of hands if everything is clear? Great, great, right. So a very good evening to all, and thank you every one of you for joining this session. And we're glad you all can make this session and enter the session. Basically, considering the situation all of us are facing. So mainly this session is being conducted to many of our students in the main aim of providing you more details towards the current program, which every one of you are interested in joining. Many of you had the question on getting more insight, basically on the course structure, how the course is conducted, what it consists of. And in addition to that, we also have a very prominent speaker, our very own alumni, who will be providing insight on the program itself and how it has helped him come thus far in his career. So without taking any further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Qasim Farooq, our course coordinator and program lead for the MSc Big Data program, to come forward and provide in-depth insight on the program. Good evening, Mr. Qasim. Over to you.
Right. Thank you, Rusli, for that introduction. Right. So the program is named as MSc in Big Data Analytics. And I hope how many of you all have looked at it on the website? Anyone who has gone to the IIT website at least and have had a look at the modules? Yeah. Good. So as you can see, one or two are popping up. So that's the first thing you'll have to do. You have to research into the modules that are available. It's very important. Once you do that, you will see that we have 8 mandatory modules, and you will notice that it touches different aspects on becoming a MS Big Data Analytics student. Right? We have one module called Cloud Computing. Then we have Big Data Programming. Then we have Data Analysis. Then we have Data Mining. We have Text Analytics. We have Data Warehousing. We have Advanced Databases. And finally, you have a module called Research Methods. And then you finish it off with your MSc project. So 8 distinct areas that covers the full learning cycle to give you the foundation for taking it forward to a higher level, either at your companies or at a research level. That is up to a PhD. It's up to own individual effort. Now, the good news is you don't have to be a hardcore mathematician or a very calculus kind of thing in order to do the program. So we have targeted so that by completing the program, you will have enough foundation knowledge in order to progress on the chosen data analytics pathway. Right. Having said that, the program is designed mainly for people who are coming from software background. So there is a prerequisite knowledge that we are looking for, is that some experience of creating a software. So if you have that basic experience of creating a software, or you're willing to take the steps of learning, self-learning, right? Then you're able to cope with the program. Right. So that is one key thing that we look for when we enroll students onto this program. You all need to have what we call a degree with a class, either a first class, second class degree in your undergrad. If you don't have it, we look for what we call experience, work experience, at least minimum 2 years of work experience in the software industry. So if you have that work experience, then even if your degree does not have a classification, we can take you from what we call a prior experiential learning. That is based on your experience, you can join the program. So there's two ways of joining it onto the enrollment process. Now, coming back to the modules, since this session is to know in depth what's going to happen inside each module, so I'll take you through the 8 short modules and potentially what you will learn. That you can make a better decision whether you want to enroll onto this program, or if you think it's too simple for you, you're free to choose a higher program. So that will help you decide whether you want to enroll in September or December. So we'll take with the basics ones, that the modules that will run in September, provided you're going to enroll on. Right. The first one, it's called data warehousing, where you'll be taught on how to better organize the data that is there on a normal relational schema, so that you can get your reporting faster. So that technique of spreading the data across multiple table structures is the first thing you will learn in September. Now, I touch base the keyword called database, which means you need to have some experience of using a database. That is either MySQL, Oracle, Access, or SQL. So some experience. Hold on a sec, there's a train going on. 1 second. So I'm near IIT, near the railway track, so we get these intervals. Right, so break it over. So to do that module, we check whether you have heard of or used databases, like inserting data, deleting data, reading data, and updating data. Now, if you don't have experience in dealing with a database, you can always do a self-learning. There are so many online tutorials where you can install the software and do a bit of experimentation. Right. So also in that module, we will touch base on the Azure platform, on data lakes and stuff like that. It will give you a primer. We are not going to go in depth into each and every topic, but we will give you what we call a primer, so that you can, on your own, take it up to the next level. The next module we'll be touching base is called Big Data Programming, where you'll be dealing more with Docker, or segregated, distributed execution of queries and aggregating the data. So you will be doing it on your own laptops by using virtual machines, right? So I'm giving these keywords so that if you think that they are alien to you, so those are the learning points that you might have to catch up before enrolling onto the program. So you'll be installing a virtual machine in your computer, and an image will be given for you to boot it up, and then you will be doing the coding using Java and SQL syntax. The next one is called cloud computing, where you will be given practicals on how to deploy onto a cloud and when to decide to move to a cloud or not, right? So that will be hands-on. So they'll be using Azure as well as AWS. So doing that from ground up, you will learn how to deal with cloud architectures. So that's on cloud computing. Then next thing in January, we have data analysis. That is pure statistics. That is part and parcel of any data analytics program. Right? You need to know mathematics and statistics, but don't worry. The lecturer will take you through it, and to help you, we do have what we call mathematics video clips that you can use. Yeah, I can see hands raised. Is it Lux? It goes as Lux AI Software Services.
Hi, I have a small question. Now, you mentioned Java. Is it possible to use another language like C++ or let's say Python?
For delivery of the modules, each module has a specific what you call programming language. From what I seen from big data programming is it's scripting. You have to write a bit of scripts using Java, right? And execute it. Then we have on data analysis. It uses R Studio. So there's a scripting language called R scripting. It's similar to JavaScript. So use that syntax in that particular module. Then when you come to January, we have data mining. It uses Google Colab. So it's Python programming there. So each module has the one distinct flavor of a particular programming language. So that's the foundation. But you can relate it now if you are a Microsoft.
Sorry, we can't
You can
hear you.
you can always translate it onto your own on the Microsoft platform. But since it's an academic exercise, each module leader has one specific programming language because he has to assess everyone in one common platform. So that's why you might not get a choice of a particular programming language in a particular. So I hope I answered your question.
Thank you.
So each module will have one programming language, different. One has Python, one has Java, one has Microsoft. So different programming language just to build you up and to assess everybody in the same platform. Right.
Perfect. Thank you.
The next module that will data analysis, pure statistics. We use what we call R Studio, and we use Python libraries there for plotting stuff and loading and cleansing. All the stuff will be in that particular module, and obviously it has mathematics related ones, right? So linear models like array and all those stuff would be taught in the data analysis module. So that's the only big mathematics related module that will be there. So if you're coming from a statistics background or have a stats degree or a maths degree for A levels or coming from that, then the next module is data mining, like I mentioned. So that also runs in January. There you are getting the foundation, not the in-depth one. For example, we will be touching on data mining, that is training using past historical data. Then we are moving on, touching on AI, that is doing predictions without historical data. Then you will be touching based on this concept called deep learning. So you will be given the foundation, the stepping stones. Right? So if you want to go in depth, you're free to do that. Right. So what we want to say is, since it is very difficult to go deep into a particular topic without constructing it in a gradual basis, you might find that, for argument's sake, that we are teaching stuff that was done a few years ago. So here you need that knowledge in order to understand the new technology. So that's how the data mining module is structured. So it won't go directly into deep learning or AI. No, first it will take you through historical data part, then how to predict without any data, and then into foundation on deep learning. So that's the data mining module. Then on the same thing, we have another easy module called advanced databases that teaches you two things. One is relational databases, those sessions will be very short, and directly into NoSQL databases. So there, even if you're not aware of NoSQL databases, you will be taught ground up from that. But the relational part is there, just to refresh your software engineering memory on using relational databases. So most of the students find the relational assignment very, very easy, and the NoSQL assignment a bit tough. So we have reduced the number of lectures on the relational part because it's just like a refresher, and then you'll be taken on how to convert that onto a NoSQL platform. So that knowledge you will get from what we call the advanced databases. Of course, there are other stuff like federated, what you call databases, and all those stuff in that particular module. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Any specific NoSQL database that you are using for this for that lab?
From what I infer from the coursework, they were using MongoDB. But if you feel that there is a better one, you can always suggest to the lecturer because it's always flexible in that particular module.
Perfect. Thank you.
So that's a very easy module again. Like I mentioned, it's like a 80-20 rule, 20% on relational database. So you might find it boring and the assessment very easy for that. But the NoSQL part would be a bit challenging on that particular one. So if you are already doing those technologies in your industry or experimented them with your undergrad, it will be very helpful. Then finally we come on to what we call the third semester, where we have two challenging modules. One is called text analytics, where you infer knowledge from plain text. There the technology is using Python, right? So if you have some prior experience or small stuff, I think even in A levels this time they have the Python knowledge thing that will be very helpful. So if you have not done Python before, a recommendation is to follow some tutorials on how to configure the Python libraries to get stuff running. So text analytics would be there. So basically it's like a text, how to infer sentiment out of it, right? So pre-processing, tokenizing, all those whatnots using Python libraries will be coming on text analytics. So it's a bit, that module is a bit challenging along with data mining. So those two modules are a bit challenging if in this program. Hold on, train coming. Okay, so IIT Ramakrishna Road is next to railway track, so you might have to get used to a bit of interruptions happening. Then you finally top it off with a research methods module, where it teaches you ground up on doing research. That is how to review papers, how to do a correct literature review, right? Because literature is copy paste. Review is the challenging part. So it teaches you how to do a proposal, the proper way of researching and coming up with a problem gaps, research questions. Likewise, it gives you a training as a precursor for your project. So all 8 modules is mandatory that you have to pass them in order to top it off with your project module. So if you do all 8 modules, you're eligible for a postgraduate diploma. And then when you complete the project afterwards, where you come up with a proposal, an idea, get it with the supervisor, and then finally complete it, then you can get the degree. Now, in the MSc Big Data Analytics module is research plus software. So you cannot give what we call a pure research kind of a thing for your project module. There should be a piece of software that you have written that proves that your research works. For example, you cannot give a Google Colab notebook or a Python notebook and run it and tell this is my research. You have to build a software, what we call a prototype or proof of concept, that will communicate with a script and acts as a GUI for the end user. So you have to build a short software that will interact in the background with whatever research you have done. So you might create some libraries, but you have to build your own software. So it could be a mobile app, desktop app, or it could be a web app, where a user can give some input and it will do the processing and show the output. So it can be as simple as one page with a text box and a button. So you upload a file, all the processing happens in the background, and the result is shown. Because of that component where you have to build a software is why I mentioned that we are looking for people who has done a little bit of software engineering. Now you may argue, big data analytics, why should be, Python script is enough. Yeah, agreed. Python script is enough. But this program is also validated by the British Computer Society, BCS. Right. So what they said is, to be accredited, the student should also display software engineering skills. There should be a tangible software, usable software at the end of your project. We are not looking for big GUI admin login. No. Just to showcase that you are capable of writing a piece of software that will call all the scripts and all those stuff in the background and show the result to the user. So the people who are coming from non-software engineering backgrounds and coming from pure mathematics or pure statistics related backgrounds, there would be a bit of a learning curve. I would say self-learning curve, so that they can do a bit of R&D and create a small software that will interact with the database. So once you get the hang of that, the rest will fall into place. So that's the overview of the 8 modules, a bit of insight. So I mentioned some softwares like Python, Java, JavaScript. Then sometimes you might have to write some C# code. And obviously, since there are databases involved, you need a bit of knowledge of SQL, structured query language. So those are the bits and pieces that you might need to have in place to do it. Good. So I've been talking a lot on the modules, and mind you, all 8 modules is mandatory. Since there are no optional modules, I'm telling this even before you join the program, you have to pass all of them. And if you don't submit the assignments, now this is very unique for this particular program. Each module has only one assignment, what we call a coursework, no written exam. So the assignment would be given as early as the 3rd week. So you know well in advance how you are going to get assessed. So you are only getting one coursework, what we call a take-home individual assignment. Now you get only 2 chances to submit the assignment. If you don't submit it twice, right, and you do not give any reason for not submitting, right, and you fail the module twice, that is, first attempt you don't submit, neither do you tell why you can't submit, then you skip the second attempt submission, right? So that's 2 times. So if you fail twice, you are excluded from the program, right? So that's where the challenging part comes, right? So you can't fail a module. Right? If you fail any of the modules, you can't proceed with your program. You might have to either get a PG cert, right? And obviously you can't get the PG diploma. Right? So you have to complete all 8 modules, you have to pass in order to progress. Which implies if you all are working, you need to manage your time. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very hectic. Good. Any doubts that you would have come across when you're reading the modules or module descriptors, either at IIT or RGU? You can ask now, because you're going to make a big decision. Yes, Tarindu, go ahead.
Yeah, for the module called Big Data Programming, you said we need to use some JavaScripting as well as some SQL, right?
SQL, structured query, because there are some queries for distributed processing, right? For aggregating the data, the syntax is similar to SQL with some advanced constructs. So if you have some SQL knowledge, it is good. Coding part is on Java, I think. I remember there were some scripts that you might have to write in Java in order to trigger the scripts to run. Because I think you deploy it onto the Docker container or something like that, and that fellow starts execution. So there's an aggregator who aggregates the data from multiple nodes. So there's a bit of Java coding involved over there. It's not complicated, right? But what we say is, if you can recognize source code, it's pretty easy to catch on.
Yeah. Actually, that's what's my concern, because let's say we know the basics concept of Java programming, but in industry we haven't used it to develop some very high-end enterprise application and that all. So then it won't be a problem, right? Because we know the basics.
In that module, we are not expecting you to build a software. No. To integrate your aggregator code, you need a bit of Java knowledge. It's a bit of scripting knowledge. So as long as you know how to write a bit of piece of code, it's very easy.
So can I add one more thing to that?
Yeah, Chamindu, go ahead.
Yeah, Tarindu, don't worry about that, because I'm from a .NET background now. I haven't had any Java knowledge when I was joining the program. So within that big data part of it, it is about looking at these way of handling the big data, like Hive technology, Pig, and then of course Cassandra type of query languages. That's what Kasim sir was mentioning, that you need to have a bit of that particular background, but not essentially Java, because as of right now, even I don't have any experience of writing enterprise level of Java, but I have a bit of a knowledge. But for sure that you don't need that in that particular module. You should be able to manage that, because I'm totally from .NET background.
All right. Then other than that, I have another question, like about the MSc project. So in that case, let's say we can build some web application, right? Maybe some React and some database and that everything. Basically, web application as the software prototype, right, for the project, in order to work with our things.
Yeah, it's like this. You don't have to connect to a database. No, it's on your research. Let's say your research is on predicting sales, right? So you will be using data mining knowledge on that. And the data mining modules will be running in a Python. So you'll be calling some Python libraries, or equivalent in C# if you get this Azure machine learning libraries or Java libraries. Right? So when we say a software, you write a screen that will interact with those libraries and show the result.
All right. We can use some GUI related Python module. And
exactly. We are in Python. I think you have Flask framework. Yeah. Basically that. So in the Python notebook, also at one step, it can boot up a web. I think it does that. It pops up a web thing. That is more than enough. What I'm saying is students who don't showcase that ability, then they are not having gained the software engineering experience in big data analytics. Basically, if you have used Power BI or all those data analytics tools, the final goal that we expect is that you are capable of building that tool. If you look at those tools, it's basically a GUI. It is calling background libraries. So at a rudimentary level, we are looking whether you can do a simple one to showcase that you have some engineering capabilities.
All right. Yeah. All right. Other than that, I heard some C#, something related to some program. So
don't worry about that. If you can recognize source code, those will be fine. Okay.
Yeah, actually, because I am basically a sort of a Python developer, plus I have some web development experience. So
Then it's easy because in Python you have the control construct. You can easily do it. Okay, so I'll just shoot you over to Chaminder. So he will tell his life story of how or why he wanted to do this program. Plus, since he underwent through the module itself, he will give you a better understanding from the student perspective. And by the way, he got the gold medalist, the highest award that a student can get in a master's program. So he has done his work, and plus he is working, right? He's a director of a software company, and he has a team under him. So with high workload, he was able to complete the program in a timely fashion. So Chaminda, over to you. We would like to hear your experience of doing the program.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. And I hope good evening to everyone. And some of you might be joining from your office and had a good day of so far. And first thing, why I select the program. First, basically, I'm from, I did bioscience for my A level. And, at the time of I'm looking for this particular course, I had my first master's. And then, of course, I was a PMP qualified project manager, and then of course a certified Scrum Master and a certified management accountant as well at that particular time. And I was looking for what should I do next. And then we know that it is all about data moving forward. Any industry, we are in HR or we are in health or hospitality, it is all about data intensity. So it is pretty much, if you're not knowing these data analytic techniques and business analysts going hand in hand, and of course you won't be able to survive. So that's what the whole motivation that I was looking for a course that giving me that particular kind of a technical landscape. And then there were so many courses around. Like if you look at, I'm pretty sure that you have done your homework already about that. There are so many short courses available with a lesser investment, and of course there are so many good courses as well at the same time. And then I was looking at the curriculum, and like Kasim sir said, all these modules were up to date and latest content. And then I decided okay, this might be the one that I need to follow with. And then I was talking to a couple of my friends that who have done that particular course already, and of course recommendation came from that particular part as well. And then 2-year program. And of course, if that, of course, again, another validation point. And of course, it is under Robert Gordon University. So then I decided, okay, I need to take this particular course. And of course, IIT is the best solution for that, because when you look at recognized courses that globally take the qualification, there's very less choices that you have in Sri Lanka. But of course, IIT is giving the best one for us. So that's the whole selection process that I went through. And at the start of the process, I'm more into management. And the reason that what I want to take a bit of a technical aspect of it, my company actually, Paragon Software Lanka, we more into .NET technologies, but I wanted to kind of change my company's technical profile into a bit more into data. So I thought of taking that course, and that's another motivation that I had with. And on top of it, then I had a bit of a discussion, for the management, whether I should do business analytics or the big data. And I had to talk to Kasim sir, and of course Dr. Alroy as well. And then of course I won't there were a bit of a decision back and forth, whether I should do business analysis or whether I should do big data. I will stick to big data. And like I said earlier as well, I'm from .NET background, and don't worry about these words aliens word, Kasim sir said, Dockers, Kubernetes. I haven't heard anything about that when I was starting, and I haven't had any Python knowledge when I was starting. And but I was able to go through that with the help of a brilliant set of lectures that we had. And of course, academic support is the best thing that I noticed when I was doing that, because first week, second week into the course, I was kind of having own postmortem by myself, that thinking whether I have done a wrong investment here, because these words, Kasim said, most of them are really alien to me, and I didn't know anything about it. And there were other students talking about these things with the lecture, but I was kept my mouth shut. I didn't know anything. And but I took the challenge, and of course, academic support is the best thing that I noticed, as I said. And there were good mixture of lectures. Some of them are from peer academic background, and some of them are from actually from the industry itself. And of course, they're talking about these real life experience and real life example of these big data analytics. Motivated me to okay, you need to be in the course, and you do this, otherwise you're missing certain good aspect of it, right? So on top of it, like I said, lecturers very friendly, and of course there was a chance that you can kind of clarify certain stuff with the lecturers, and like I said, it's a good blend of it. And during the course, actually, like Kasim said, it is not everything that taught by the modules, but you have to do your own homework as well. And it is providing the basic what you need. And of course, then from that particular point onward, you have to take yourself forward. And like I said, learning Python from the beginning, I haven't seen any Jupyter Notebook, Anaconda, all these things were alien to me. And Kubernetes, Dockers, and all these things I learned. And of course, it is not about from the lecture itself from the IIT, but of course, certain YouTube channels and Udemy, and there are so many resources available for that where that you can follow through as well. And all in all, actually, like the Kasim said, I was able to get A passes for all the modules, and of course, uh, all the lecturers were awesome for us, giving all the feedback and everything. And of course, in the final module with the project, Kasim sir was the coordinator, and we were asking question back to back, back to back, and he was more than helpful for us. And of course, my supervisor at the thesis, you're getting good bunch of supervisors at then, because you'll be working with this particular supervisor basically for a whole year or something, that you have to go with your final project or the thesis. And I got an awesome supervisor from Moretti University, Dr. Subba Fernando. And of course, with that help, I was able to publish my first paper for my thesis. And of course, in addition to that, I was lucky enough to present my the final project to head of computing, Robert Gord University, Dr. John Isaac. That's another achievement that I have seen. I have taken from the program. And in addition to that, actually, I have seen that in my experience, there are a bit of a maths required. And of course, if you don't have Python knowledge, you might be wondering, how we can do that. And actually, there were some extra classes that IIT offered at that particular time, for maths, and then of course Python, and of course for these databases. And that was really helpful to gather certain knowledge what we need for the some of the modules. And next experience that I want to share with you guys is and I'm really grateful for IIT that already I have started certain data projects in my office already, and so that it is kind of paying off my investment. And in addition to that, I'm using some of the concept that I have learned through the module, especially this cloud hosting and all this stuff already in my office. And in addition to that, I'm working as a visiting lecturer for some of the business analyst module that I've learned for some other university that through the module that I've learned. Yes, you have a question.
Yes, sir. So my question is roughly how many hours per day per week should a student commit for this program?
Very good. The next point that I was about to talk about, right? So this course, I think pretty much will be online, as I know. I don't know whether it's going to be into hybrid mode, but if it is online, definitely you have a lot of hours will be saving. So I started the course back in 2019, and of course, second semester middle of the second semester, we had that COVID pandemic in a big time, right? We haven't had classes physical, but we had to go through two modules, 2 semesters online. And to answer your question, it's up to you. For me, if you ask from me, usually I work most of my clients from US, and I had to work a little later as well in the night just to make sure that everything synchronized for my clients. And what I did actually, I challenged myself at least to work 2 to 3 hours for a day. I'm not talking about the week, but for a day. So that's that's what I did during my studies. Sometimes it is very challenging. Say, for example, you have a long day that you're finishing your day at 10:30, probably 11, but still I challenge myself to work another 2 to 3 hours. That's my challenge was like, did you do something for your MSc program? Because you have invested, you have to get through that, right? That's the appetite that you have to have. So it is going to be different from one to another. Probably it was my story, but when it's come to you, probably it is might be different than it. But of course, but you have to have that appetite for the program, and of course working extra hours. And honestly, I had certain sleepless night as well when my wife, waking up next day morning in the alarm, but still I'm sitting my desk. So that's up to you, like, how hard do you want to get into this particular modules, right? So I had a nice challenge when I was doing this particular course. I was from, I'm still from Piliandal, actually. I had another friend that who was driving with me. And by the way, he actually at that particular time, he was a data analytics. And these things were very familiar to him at that particular time, right? By the time he jumped into the car, like, we were talking about these things, those things were alien to me. And what I did was like, I go home, actually, had my dinner quickly, and I was searching all these terms that he was talking to me. One of the good friend that thanks should goes to him as well, that, why I end up in a gold medal, that I was reading all these things that he was talking to me, right? But he missed the gold medal with the one subject. So unfortunately, so answer your question, it's totally subjective, and you have to figure it out, like, how much you want. But for me, actually, I needed like 2 to 3 hours per day, and that was, threshold that I set up myself. Hope I answer your question.
Thank you. So the actual lectures themselves, are they like once per week on Saturdays, or how does that work?
No, actually, I think Kasim sir will be giving more information about that. But I was selected. I actually selected weekdays because we had like 3 subjects on a semester usually. So that 3 days in a week, and it is from 6:30 to 9:30. And then after, like, you have, if you want, you can select weekend classes as well, depending on your schedule. That's how it is.
Thank you.
Mhm. And next thing is, like, we know that it is about the future with the data. As I said, getting a right qualification is very important. That, of course, even recognizing globally, it's more than important. So I think this particular program has that particular capability, because I'm working with most of my US client, and of course, kind of a things that I have learned from this particular module right now, it's paying off for me. And of course, for you, I think, uh, you know, I think pretty much now you know what exactly the modules that you'll be learning through. And of course, definitely there'll be opportunities for you once you're done with the course, but you have to have that appetite to do this course, with the right intent, because you'll be investing money, because it is not about, like, when you're doing your postgrad, right? Like, these money will probably coming out from your own pocket, right? And hard-earned money, so that you have to, invest it and get the right ROI. So you have to have that appetite going for the program. That's the key thing that you have to do, as far as I'm concerned as a student. And top of it, like, it definitely will be provide opportunities for you, like, either it will be enhance your current path, or probably it might be opening up new paths for you as well. So that's the, the benefit that you're getting out of this particular program. And that's pretty much what I can say from my experience. But it was a nice journey that I'm still cherishing my memories, that how it happened to me for 2 years of that learning curve. I'm still telling those stories for my team, actually, to make example. And of course, I'm really happy about it. And of course, I'm right now looking for another opportunities, because I can see that, and I can take that time available for me after this course, like, so much of disposable time. So remember that at the time of doing this particular course, if you talk about the time, I was, like Kasim said, my role is like, CWN director. I have 35 members working under me. And at the same time, I work as a visiting lecturer for ICBT um, uh, master program. So all these things were around me. And on top of it, like, the COVID pandemic, that all my team were, back to home, and how these things organized. And also, but, it's about managing your time. Like Kasim said, the beauty of this particular, the modules are like, 3 weeks into your module, there'll be announcement like what the assignment going to be, right? You can set up yourself, and probably sometimes things you might be learning ahead, and but still you can see the assignment, and you can get yourself ready for that. And if you're a good time manager, then of course it is very easy managing your time. It's all about managing your time. Yes.
Sorry for asking too many questions, but
No, that's okay.
which module did you find most interesting? And during your final project, what were the challenges that you faced?
Actually, first thing, like, if you ask from what modules, you putting me into real deeper end of the pool, because I was liking all the modules. Like, say, for example, data mining. What you don't like of data mining, right? Learning these, machine learning, deep learning, and all these things. And of course, if you look at text analytics and of course, natural language processing, what the, things that you can do, and, these, like, dictations and machine translations, all these things, like, it was a fun journey. And I mean, bit of a boring subject is about, like, research methodology, because it's more into theory, nothing much, but it is very important when it's come to your final dissertation, because all depends on that particular research methodology, right? And if you ask me to pick a one module, I can't do it, because I love all these modules, right? And that's why I have A for all the modules. And the challenge that I faced, it is about, like Kasim sir said, like, we getting a foundation in, knowledge. And in order to do a, nice project, you have to gather a bit of a knowledge than what we learning from our modules. So that's a challenge that you have to take it on. You have to read a bit, right? So say, for example, I did a project for DDoS detection using machine learning. And at that time, like, my supervisor said to me, like, look, Chaminda, you need to polish yourself a bit on these, learning techniques. So I had to take a Udemy course for that. Like, it was like, if I remember, 52-hour course, but I had to take it, like, very quickly, right? Those are the challenging points that I was, looking at. On top of it, in my project, it was the data set, that finding right data set, because I was doing application layer DDoS attack, and there was like an enough data set that matching for other layers on the in the network structure, but not for the application layer. So I had to run a bit on to find the right data set. I'm sure that it is not going to be the same story for you guys, but those are the challenges that I have seen during my research. So
Thank
hope
you.
yeah. Yes, Dishan, another question. Hello, there's a one hand raise. You're
The
muted,
mic
by
is
the way.
muted.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you please tell about how about the academic support you got for the final thesis? And because you are in the top level management, you have more access to the data for any kind of thesis or anything. And for middle level engineering role, people like us, how about the access for the data and all? Will there be any support from the academic for the thesis and all?
Look, yes, I'm the top management, but the area that I selected, right, it was DDoS detection. And we are not doing anything in my company with DDoS detection. I had to look for outside for the data, right? And actually, my supervisor, Dr. Subba Fernando from Moretti University, we were sitting together. Actually, I found a couple of data, sets at the beginning, and we were looking together, those data sets. And actually, the help I was, getting from my supervisor, I can't thank enough. And we had a meeting with my supervisor every week. Saturday evening from 6 to 9. I had like 3 members in my team apart from me. So 3 of us, actually including Subba, Dr. Subba, 4 of us, sitting there for 3 hours and talking about these, throughout the whole 1 year. Or the 9 months of this particular dissertation. So the support what you're getting, if you're good enough and if you're chasing enough, and then of course support is there for sure. That's what my experience is. You know, looking at these, models, and, finding these difficulties, and, looking at these data, and you name it, and even the report. So supervision is superb, what from my experience. Hope I answer your question.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'm talking bit now. So just to clarify a few things. The question that came from actually, I think one of you asked about, like, whether we can use our own language for some of the projects. Yes, you have that freedom if you take like cloud module, that you have to kind of like deploy something to the cloud with all the things that you have learned. And then of course you can pick the family language for you, like when you're building this particular the project or the small application. So that in some of the module you have that freedom, but some of the module you have to go with the language that module is asking you to follow with. And at the same time, like when you're doing your final project, you have this same freedom that you can select your own language. Because I will for me, from back .NET background, I did a desktop application which was talking to API endpoints for my machine learning models. So freedom is there, like depending on your capability. And of course, there was another question that asked about like NoSQL databases and what type of SQL database that kind of like will be kind of going through the module. So within that, actually there were like key value pairs, and then of course document databases, column family databases. We were learning a different type of NoSQL databases. For that, actually there were like different database technologies. Actually we had lab within the class itself, like React, Mongo, Cassandra. So there'll be a different NoSQL data for different purposes will be included in your sessions, especially when it's go to NoSQL. So those are the couple of things that I want to touch based that the question that you ask from Kasim sir. So I'm wishing you all the best. Like that's what I can do. Like manage your time, and this is a good course that you have selected, and it's up to you to get total out of it. So wishing you all the best for all of you. So that's it, Kasim sir. If you have any question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chaminder. Thanks a lot for your very insightful experience and knowledge passed on to these prospective students. I think I would like to invite Mr. Kasim to clarify a few more details furthermore on the course structure. If there are any questions as well from students, Mr. Kasim, and students, you all can ask any more questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So a question is regarding the cloud, the lab. Is it cloud-based lab, or is it a physical lab which is in your in your server in the lab? How does that work?
What happens is when we say cloud, we use the Azure or what you call AWS accounts, right? And you experiment it from your own laptops. So we don't have what you call a cloud server within the institute. You'll be using the free tiers offered by prominent what you call cloud providers to do your coursework as well as the practicals.
Thank you.
The reason for that is when we started the program 5 years ago, we attempted to have everything in-house. What happens is the student, we have this course committee meeting every semester. The student feedback was they wanted to experiment on their own without having any precursor to come to the institute to do experimentations. So the students themselves made informed decision, like they want all the practicals, everything to be done on their laptop itself. So therefore, when the course evolved, all the practicals, we help you to set it up on your laptop itself. So if you have any difficulty of installing a particular software, the module leaders who are lecturers who are doing it will take time to ensure that your computers has the required software installed, and they'll give you guidelines on what to install. If you're getting any hiccups during the lectures, you can always ask them. We had physical and online. So if it's online, you can always share your what you call screen, and they will fix it then and there. So as cloud and other stuff, don't worry, you use your own machines, that is the laptops, to do all.
Thank you. So the question, another small question now, does that mean the lectures can be attended both physically or remotely? Is that what you're saying?
The degree program is originally designed for physical delivery, and because of the COVID situation, the university provided temporary provision to have it online. So since the COVID lasted for 2 years, coupled with the current Sri Lankan crisis, up to now, the module has been delivered both on weekdays and weekends. on a pure online basis.
Perfect. Thank you.
Going forward, if we return back to physical, right? We are still in the final stages of getting the confirmed approval that we can have both modes of delivery. So the RGU's chancellor's meeting is happening next week. They are going to give a final verdict on approving the course to be done online as well, in addition to physical. So the primary mode of delivery is anyway physical. So if it's physical, your weekday, Saturday, Sunday classes would be physical. Weekend, sorry, Saturday, Sundays would be physical. And Monday to Friday, the classes would be pure.
Thank you.
Anyone? Yeah, I can see Tarindu. Yes, Tarindu, go ahead.
Yeah, again, about the lecture hours, as approximately how many lecture hours per week? And also, if let's say I select the weekend program, how the lecture hours will be distributed? I mean, it can be changed based on time to time, but approximately some idea.
You'll be getting 12 weeks of contact time. That's how the course is there for every module. 12 weeks means 12 weeks into 3 hours each. So if you are running 3 modules in September, your classes will be from September for 12 weeks. So in case there's a holiday or something happening, the lecturer will reschedule an alternate day to cover it up. So, but each session is 3 hours. So if you are joining for weekend, you need to keep both Saturday and Sunday free. Primary lectures are running on Saturdays, but some lectures will run on Sunday. Right? So if it's on Saturday, it will be, hold on, train coming.
Yeah.
Okay, train gone. So if it's on Saturday, it will be from morning 9 to 12, 1 to 4, and then 5 to 8. So some lecturers might put their class on Sunday, which means on Saturday you might have 9 to 12 and 1 to 4. Then on Sunday again 9 to 12. And if there is a holiday or rescheduling for weekends, it will be only on a Saturday or a Sunday, or on a mercantile holiday. So that will be discussed by the lecturer at the time of meeting the students. So if you're absent for a particular lecture and the people there decide we want to have it on Monday, you have to go for that. So that's how the scheduling happens. Same criteria for the Monday to Friday people. Any extra lectures would be Monday to Friday, 6 to 9. Sometimes some lecturers start it off early, 5:30 to 8:30, so that you can go home early, or sometimes a bit late, 6:30 to 9:30, depending on the conditions. But if there are any rescheduling because of mercantile holidays, we are a mercantile institute, so we go by the mercantile holidays. So based on the lecturer and the students there, they might decide to continue the classes or to put extra class.
All right, that answers my question. Thanks a lot.
Yes,
Hello.
go ahead.
Yes, if we enroll for a weekday program, is there a possibility that if you want to shift to a weekend program, if in the middle of the program?
Okay, right.
Because I'm working from home these days, and in case our organization start to work fully physically, so in case we won't be able to.
So Chaminder's batch, same thing happens. They had the weekend, and we have what we call frog jumpers. They miss a class, they tend to come on Saturday. Yes. But there's a risk. Because it's the lecturer's delivery might be different, so that sometimes you might find the same Monday class getting repeated on Saturday. So if you miss the Monday class, and if the lecturer is repeating that in Saturday, you're lucky. Sometimes what will happen is the Monday class would be one subject 1 week ahead. Right?
That in that case we'll be missing only 1 week or something, no? But
either you might For example, let's say Monday you did data structures, right? And you think next Monday you can't come and you want to catch up the same week Saturday, then you'll be getting a double dose of data structures twice, right? Or either you'll get a double dose, or you might miss a lecture totally, one particular subject, because the timings might differ. Sometimes Saturday might go slow.
So do you have any learning portal, LMS or something, so that we can see the recording videos or anything
Well,
of the
for
lectures?
online, only for online mode, the facility is there for recording, because we are using LMS for there. For physical, there isn't a recording facility, but the lecturers might try to record. But there is a small drawback. The recording software is not well advanced. Sometimes we have what we call group activities or breakout rooms. So when that happens, the recording stops and it does not restart unless somebody tells, Chaminda would have good experience on that. Sometimes the lecturer forgets to start the recording and nobody reminds the lecturer. Then you might only get a half-baked recording. So that risk is there.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
to
but
answer
that
your question, you can jump. And if you're coming for the physical class, you have to be mindful. There might be congestion. I mean, normally we have 40 students. And if the Monday group also joins, there'll be like 80 students inside the class. So it will be a bit, sometimes it will be jam-packed. Sometimes it will be, less number of students. That risk is there.
Yeah, that's for, I'm asking for unavoidable situations. Yeah, that's
So
possible, right? Yeah.
Yes, you have to tackle it and see whether you're getting the best. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
Good. Any questions? You all are going to make a big decision on Saturday. Sorry, September. Any other clarifications?
One more question again. You discuss all the details of the module. In that case, number of credits per module. I think
15 credits. It's 15 credits. So 8 modules will give you 120, and the project module is 4 credit. I mean 4 times. It's a 60 credit module. So it's a pretty heavy weight. So when you do the project, you get 60 credits, totally 180, and you complete the course.
Great. Thanks.
And finally, the certificate you are getting are internal certificates, the same certificate that the Robert Gordon University students are getting over there. Right. So your final certificate is the same paper certificate given by students there itself. Right. So there is no difference in the degree certificate. The transcript is digital because they have a third-party vendor called Graduate Intelligence, GradIntel. They issue a digitally certified PDF for a transcript. Only on the transcript it says the delivery was done by Informatics Institute of Technology. Right. Whereas the degree paper certificate is the same certificate those students are getting there. So even if you're getting the PG cert or the PG postgraduate diploma or the degree, you get only one certificate when you finish the course. It's the same thing that the students there are getting. Okay, there's no differentiation. And also resources, like the same resources those students are getting, you get the same. Which means if those students are not getting AWS vouchers, you won't get AWS vouchers here, right? So it's the same treatment. Whatever is happening in Scotland, same thing you all get.
And top of it, especially when you're doing your research, access to those, research databases, that through your RGU account, because you'll be getting RGU account, not the IIT account. Actually, you will be a student from RGU, and you'll be getting all these, free access to these, most of, databases for the research papers. So that's another advantage what you're getting. Like Kasim said, you'll be treated as a internal student from RGU. And there's one question, sir, Diniti asking, just wondering what makes you to choose between big data over BA. So it was a directed question to me. And just to answer that, actually, that was pure decision of me. Like, I wanted to change my, company's technical landscape. So I just wanted to, be in the big data, not the business analysis. So that's for the whole reason. Hope I answer your question, Denity. Okay.
Good. So we are 3 minutes on the clock, or 7 minutes overtime. Any more clarifications that you all want to know? Any doubts?
Yeah, again, one more question. So for the research, MSc research, so will that institute provide some topics or some projects available, or is it possible for us to submit a proposal and bring some industry issue or business problem from industry and related it?
We give you topics that were done by past students, so that list is there.
Okay.
Right, and you're free to look them up and take the enhancement. You can enhance it, but totally the topic generally comes from the student itself.
Oh, right. That's
right. Sometimes this, when you talk with the supervisor of your academics, they might remember a similar project done. So then they will tell you, go and have a look at that and see whether they're similar.
Okay.
That's how it goes.
All right. Yeah, that's answer my question. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. My final question: how is the supervisor selected for the final project?
Your supervisors are basically the lecturers who are teaching you in this particular program, and plus there are 3 more additional supervisors pre-selected by RGU. They are all people here at IIT. So you need to pick one of those as your former supervisor.
Thank you. And that's that picking, it depends on the subject area. Is it working like
Yes.
that? Or?
It's up to you. The supervisors' profiles are there, right? And you can pick and talk to them and recruit them. We call it recruiting a supervisor. Right? So it's totally up to on your side to make your proposal a bit more enticing for the supervisor to take you on. For example, if you just approach the supervisor and say, I want to take you as a supervisor, this is my topic, that won't do.
I see. And these profiles, how do we get it? How do we get the profile of the supervisor?
There's a list on the module page where we have the lecturer contact details and their preferred area of expertise. So from that, you're free to either an internal academic in that list or an external lecturer who's teaching you. Perfect. It's perfectly free. It's like there isn't any restrictions on who you pick.
Thank you. I think I didn't see that the list, but I'll check it again. I didn't see any names like that, but I'll
you won't see it externally, right?
Okay.
It's basically the lecturers. I think Chaminda has an input on that, on how he supervisor.
Actually, yes, that's a good story. And best thing would be like you write your supervisor early as possible, because there'll be a lot of student fighting to get a good supervisor, right? So we know that Dr. Subha, it was a bit tough when it's come to the lectures, and but I still wanted to have Dr. Subha as my supervisor. So you can write to the supervisor and just explain what you're going to do with your research, and if it is like interesting one, they will be picking up you. So early the better, rather than like without late, write it. Because definitely Qasim sir will be instructing you, because he will be handling the project class. So he'll be instructing you at what time that you need to write your supervisor, and don't delay it. That's my tip. Do it right away.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions, anyone? Well, I think all clarifications have been clarified clearly. Yes, yeah. Okay then. So then, while thanking our lecturer, Mr. Qasim Farooq, and our very own alumni, Mr. Chaminda, for joining us and providing an insightful knowledge to our students, hopefully who will be joining us very soon. I wish you all the best, and hope you all take the correct decision forward. And also, Mr. Chaminder, really, really thank you for all your thoughts. And Mr. Farooq, making your time in this busy schedule of coming here and helping us and encouraging students, giving more insight on the program itself. I would like to call it a night, a very good night, and thank you all for joining us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and wishing you all the best for the your course selection. So do it, good job, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chaminder.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.